Mercedes diesels are still underrated. If you look on any video, any sort of article, people often talk about the longest lived engines. These are the engines that will last forever. They talk about engines like the Ford Modular V8, the original 4.6. They talk about engines like the engine in your 2003 Lexus LS 400, or the engine in your Toyota Tundra, or they talk about the Volvo Red Block. But I don't see a lot of these lists mentioning the Mercedes OM 615, 616, 617, 601, 602, naturally aspirated 603, eventually the 606, and its other little family members, the 604 and the 605. Why don't these engines get mentioned in longevity lists? And I think I know. I was trying to figure out the answer to this question. I finally have it. A lot of the engines that make the list, like the Ford 300 cubic inch in line 6, that's one that makes these lists all the time. First of all, they made a lot more of those engines. A lot of these engines were engines that were in production times a million units. I'm not saying the Mercedes engines weren't. The OM 616 was produced in the millions of units. It was used in a lot of vehicles that we don't know about, like the 240 GD or the MB100 van. But those vehicles were often not available stateside where this content originates from. Another reason for this is because stateside, here in the States, most of the vehicles that are mentioned, or most of the engines that are mentioned, are in vehicles that people are still buying and using as daily drivers. Now, I'm not saying that people aren't buying classic Mercedes and using them as daily drivers. I think more people should be buying them and using them as daily drivers, especially if you live in an area where you're not, a slave to city traffic schedules. But there are going to be more people out there driving 93 Crown Victorias or 99 Crown Victorias or Lincoln Town Cars or, Ford Mustangs with the modular V8 in them than there are people driving 83 240Ds. There are going to be more people out there driving Lexus LS 400s and LS 430s because now those cars have fully depreciated and they are cheap, very luxurious, and reasonably reliable. But there's a flaw in those things. I'll tell you what the flaw is that no one discusses. It's the timing belt. Timing belts are three things. I really hate timing belts. I don't think any engine with a timing belt belongs in a longevity list. Number one, there is no such thing as a timing belt that is easy to replace. If you have a complex quad cam engine like I can't remember, the 1ZZ or whatever it's called in a Lexus, you are taking everything off the front of the motor. Every accessory, the crank pulley, all the engine cover stuff, taking the front cam timing advance mechanisms off of the valve covers or off of the front of the cylinder head. And then thinking that some amateur is going to replace a rubber belt that controls all four cams with special spring-loaded cam timing devices, plus having to put everything back together perfectly with no leaks. Are you out of your mind? That's not longevity. That's planned obsolescence. Just because you could put 500,000 miles on it doesn't mean that somebody's not going to screw up a timing belt replacement, which has to be done every 80,000 miles. 80,000 miles, if you're driving all the time, goes by like that. When my 300D had 80,000 fewer miles on it, I was still here running the shop every day. It was 2017. It wasn't that long ago. There's the timing belt waiting to go bad again. Brake on you, brick your car. Even timing belts on Volvos, as simple as they look to change, they're not, because when you mess up the cam timing, unless you're familiar with the job, sorry. You know, one of the things I love about Classic Mercedes is for somebody who's unfamiliar with the cars, you can get a lot done because things are based on logic. Timing belts are based on financial logic. They're not based on mechanical simplicity, principles of mechanical simplicity. I've seen timing chains on Mercedes diesels go 500,000-600,000 miles because nobody ran them out of oil. You know, I have a very high mileage 123 with a healthy original timing chain. There's no stretch, there's no excessive wear, it's great. Now, one of the things that I find, you know, even more frustrating is the fact that these lists sort of perpetuate themselves. So the first person who makes a video about 5 engines that'll run forever is supplying material for 10 other content creators. Those 10 content creators might be watching that video and 1 or 2 other videos instead of going and doing original research. That's not helpful when you're just regurgitating information. I notice that's how YouTube is. There's a lot of regurgitated information. One thing I'm very proud of myself for is bringing a lot of unique information to YouTube. And for the most part, because we have a very small channel, nobody is stealing it and regurgitating it in their mega channel that's mostly an AI production. So this is very helpful. You know, that's one of the reasons why I like my little channel. But it doesn't answer the question of why people don't seem to realize how durable these engines are, because there's so many of them running today. I think that it may simply be a problem of ignorance. The average person who is looking for a car that's going to run for a long time is looking for something that is cheap, where parts are cheap, where labor is not complicated. You know, rehabilitating a 40-year-old Mercedes is hard. Takes a lot of hard work. Takes a lot of sweat, a lot of calories. People want an engine where they can change the oil, fix a few things, like do a tune-up and get in the car and drive 100,000 miles. And the thing that I'm really curious about is whether or not these other engines offer it with no check engine lights, no broken, no broken climate controls, no worn out wheel bearings, etc. I'm really not sure if that's true. Now, I look at the engine in our Toyota Sienna and our 2013 Sienna. I'm pretty sure that that engine's going to run for a long time because we simply change the oil and do other basic maintenance. But some of these engines are devoid of character. They're just engines that run for a long time while the cars that they're in slowly fall apart. One of the reasons that I think that Mercedes engines on this list, especially the older 4-cylinder diesels, some people remember the 617 turbo diesel, but the older 4-cylinder diesels are also very good engines. They forget that there are 5 attributes about these engines that make them cut out for these lists. The first attribute is the cars that they go in are also extremely durable and well engineered, and parts availability is good. Second one is that the engines are repairable. So even if you cook a crankshaft bearing, they are repairable. A lot of these other engines on the list, especially some of the modern Toyota engines, you can't rebuild them because the tolerances are too tight and the parts are made in such a way where you can't get an average machine shop to clean up a cam lobe. You have to get another cam, and the replacement part's not as good as the original. Or if your engine block gets scored, good luck. It's an aluminum block. It's hardened with silicone. You can't sleeve it. It would be too expensive and time-consuming. So when these engines do go, they're done. But a lot of the Mercedes engines, because they have replaceable cylinder liners or cast iron heads or extremely hard nitrided crankshafts, there's a future for them. The third reason is because high mileage diesel Mercedes are inexpensive. You could go buy one with the money you'd go use to, buy a dead Toyota Tundra, a dead rusty Tundra. You can buy a decent high mileage Mercedes with 300,000 miles on it. You don't need to be afraid of the mileage. The cars are good. You can use them. You should be using them. Number 4, a lot of these people forget that the cars have no electronics to burden you. Electronics are the thing that brick modern cars. The engine might be good for hundreds of thousands of miles, but the electronics, trust me, won't. You can't tell me that a fragile little circuit board is going to last for 75 years. One of the reasons I've staked everything on these older Mercedes, particularly older Mercedes diesels, is because some engineering is timeless. That's why you see pocket watches from the 1600s still in operation, because they're mechanical. If they had computers or circuit boards, they wouldn't be here. That's why if there was an ancient civilization that had developed the function of the circuit board or the computer chip, there's no record of it, because it just all turns to dust eventually. I think the last reason is because the cars are not for the average person. You do have to be a little bit exceptional, a little bit different. For that reason, maybe people who are a little bit low IQ NPC types won't touch them, or won't discuss them, or won't acknowledge them. It's because they can't wrap their head around just how sophisticated the Mercedes engineering was. And Mercedes knew in the 80s they were engineering themselves out of a job. They basically built a car that was so good that it didn't make sense to keep building cars that good. They were going to ruin themselves economically, You still see far corners of the world where people are driving 123s and the cars might be a little beat up, but they're still going. So one of the things that I want you guys to think about next time you watch this video is that every longevity list out there is flawed that doesn't include the older Mercedes diesels. It means that you can't trust any of the information because they left out what I think was probably the best engineered, most long-lived engine ever. Not because it runs for hundreds of thousands of miles, but because you can repair it so it will keep running for hundreds of thousands of miles. It means that when the engine is worn out, you don't throw it away. You can go back and perform additional repairs. Yes, we're living in an age where there aren't that many machinists, but hopefully this is getting better as younger people discover that college does not hold all the promises that it did for their parents' generation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tap the bell for notifications. And thank you if you've watched our video all the way through.